thanking the Speaker of the House for appointing me as chairman of this committee. It's a great honor for me to serve and to have such a worthy committee to work with. I'm looking forward to it and I'm excited. So I hope that we get a lot of good things accomplished over in the next 3 years. And I want to give you my telephone number at this time, 662-321-5558. And I ask each one of you members, if you wouldn't mind, to exchange numbers with me, and so that I'll have your telephone number as well. This morning we'll be looking at our agenda. I hope each of you have access to our agenda. We have 4 items on that agenda. We'll be taking those up. Vice Chairman Gary will be handling 3 of those bills, and Representative Lee Yancey will be handling another one of those bills. These bills were already in committee when the Speaker appointed me. If you have any bills that you're interested in, if you get in touch with me, I think that we probably will have one more meeting before Tuesday. So there's a possibility. So we just, if you have anything you have an interest in, just please contact me or Dorothy or Mary Catherine and or the Vice Chairman, and we'll try to accommodate you if at all possible. So let's go to our agenda this morning. Our first bill there is House Bill 488. Vice Chairman Gary from Lee County will be handling the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, House Bill 488. What this bill does, it allows our public libraries to be able to use credit cards for any of their patrons to process the fees or payments with that library. The fees would be added onto the whatever balance is owed by the patron of that library. So none of the credit card handling fees will be passed on to the library itself. They will be paid by the consumer. And that is my explanation of this bill.
You've heard the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions on the bill? House Bill 488. Hearing none, what's your motion, gentlemen?
Title sufficient do pass.
The motion is made, title sufficient do pass. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Aye. The ayes have it. So that goes to the calendar. We'll go to House Bill number 953 and recognize the gentleman from Rankin to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the bill regarding regulation of homeowners associations, and with unanimous consent, I would like to offer a committee sub that would simply allow homeowners associations to meet virtually as well as in person because of the pandemic and everything. So I'd like to adopt that as committee sub.
Okay, you've heard that. We have an amendment to adopt a committee sub. All in favor? Aye. And
Aye.
Opposed? Nays? Gentlemen, you're on the committee sub.
So in Monday's Clarion Ledger, there was an article entitled "Inside the Homeowners Association Lawsuit a Year Later." Many of you are familiar with the fact that a year ago, there were 12 Metro Jackson homeowners associations that had millions of dollars in missing funds. It was over $2.7 million that's allegedly missing. And these homeowners associations had hired a managing agent to help them in the collection of these homeowners association dues, to help with the violation of covenant, collecting those fines. But this managing agent had basically stolen the money, allegedly. And so I have a bill that passed out of this committee last year. And this is the same bill with a few minor changes. But basically it creates some regulations between the managing agent and between the homeowners association, managing agents who accept or receive funds that belong to homeowners associations. They have to deposit those funds in a bank or savings association or into an account that's under the control of the homeowners association. All these funds that are deposited by the managing agent have to be kept at a financial institution and insured by FDIC until those funds are dispersed with written instructions from the homeowners association. There are a number of things in the bill. Transfers of greater than $10,000, you have to have prior written approval. The managing agent has to keep a separate record of the receipt and disposition of all funds before every regular meeting of the homeowners association, and any other time upon request. The managing agent provides some information that's in section 2 of the bill, which I'll go over in just a moment. The managing agent shall not commingle the funds of the association with the managing agent's own money or with the money of others. He has to keep a separate fund for each homeowners association in order to keep that straight. So these are the things in section 2 that they have to do each month. The board of a homeowner association shall do all the following at all regularly scheduled meetings: review current reconciliation of the operating accounts, review current reconciliation of the reserve accounts, reserve the current year's actual operating revenues and expenses compared to the current year's budget, review the latest accounts statements prepared by the financial institutions where they're kept, review a receipts and disbursement statement, review the check register, monthly general ledger, and delinquent accessible receivable reports. Now, we're also asking homeowner associations to consider getting a fidelity bond to cover its directors, officers, and employees in the amount that is equal to or more than the combined amount of the reserves of the association. The last part says if association uses a managing agent, the association's fidelity bond coverage must additionally include dishonest acts by that person or entity and its employees. Now, here's the way out for the homeowners associations. We're recommending that they do this, but if a majority of the members of the homeowners association at a regular or special meeting of the association vote not to maintain fidelity bond coverage for its directors, officers, or employees, the provisions of subsection 1 shall not apply to the association. So we're strongly recommending to them that they get fidelity bond coverage, and obviously they would face probably some repercussions if they did not and something terrible like this happened to them. But we are strongly admonishing them to get fidelity bond coverage with this law. So I'll be glad to try and answer any questions that anyone may have.
Does anyone have any questions on 953 committee sub? Hearing none, yes, sir, gentleman has.
Thank you so much. Will that be absolutely mandatory, or will it be?
It's not mandatory.
Because a lot of these small homeowner associations wouldn't have the capacity to do that.
Right.
In terms of securing a bond.
We took that into consideration, and many of them would, but it'd be a great insurance policy for the homeowners. It would give them a remedy for somebody stealing their money.
Well, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand the risk.
Absolutely.
Now, but I'm talking about the affordability.
Right.
In some cases.
That's why we strongly encouraged them to, but didn't require them to.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions on 953 committee sub? Hearing none, what's your motion?
The motion is title sufficient, do pass, committee sub.
You've heard the motion. Title sufficient, do pass, committee sub. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item on our agenda is House Bill 1077. And I recognize the gentleman from Lee to explain the bill.
All right. House Bill 1077, it is we are amending the Mississippi Open Account Statute. This statute was passed by the legislature in 1980, but somehow when they did that, they did not define what an open account was. And so over the years, it's just been up to whichever judge is of an opinion of what an open account is. And so what we are going to do here is just define in statute what an open account would be. So basically we're defining an open account as any transaction, whether a single transaction or a series of transactions involving the sale of goods or services between individuals or entities based on an oral or written promise or agreement expressed or implied for the account of the debtor to pay for the goods or services after the account debtor's receipt of the goods or services and an invoice or itemized statement of account for the item. So that's basically what we're doing here. We're just adding some language to the code on what an open account exactly would be. And that's my explanation.
You've heard the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions on the bill? Gentlemen, you bet. Your speaker's not on.
Check. Okay, thank you. My question is this, you said creditor accounts, are these accounts where you have individuals that owe money, or is this like money that's left that winds up going ultimately to the state treasurer's office?
No, this deals with just people who owe money to someone. Like could be anything from like, if you had a plumber come to your house and, he gives you an invoice, so that's going to be called an open account. Until you pay it, it's considered an open account. Or like I know department stores back in the day used to have, an account at that department store, and you just put it on your account and you paid it off at the end of the month. That would be an open account. I think the main gist of this is just to add a single transaction to the statute, because in some of these cases, the judges weren't recognizing a single transaction as an open account. So we're adding a single transaction to that open account law. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, what's your motion, gentlemen?
Title sufficient do pass.
You've heard the motion. Title sufficient do pass. All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. I believe that concludes our business for the day. Thank you for attending, and
We're gonna do that later.
What's-
1075.
oh, I skipped it. Didn't I?
Yeah.
Got in too big a hurry. Let's see. Oh, this is main one, wasn't it? Let's go to House Bill 1075. Call that bill up, and we'll yield to the gentleman from Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1075, what this bill does, it extends the repealer on the Mississippi Credit Availability Act for 4 more years up to 2026. It removes the repealer from the Mississippi Title Pledge Act, and also it will remove the repealer from the Mississippi Check Cashers Act. We have had no issues from any of these entities about these bill laws over the years. So we are going to remove the repealers on those and extend the repealer on the Credit Availability Act. That's my explanation.
You've heard the explanation of the bill. Any questions? Hearing none, what's your motion, gentlemen?
Title sufficient do pass.
You've heard the motion. All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, he's a no.
Oh, have one no. All right, the bill has passed. So it goes to the calendar, and that finishes our work for the day. And again, I will tell you, we might call another meeting and we might not, but that's a possibility. So do I have a motion to rise and report? You've heard the motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.